Ah, the evolution of a typical World of Tanks player. You know the story. You know how it goes. You start at Tier 1, and you're a clueless, useless, pathetic noob. Then you get to Tier 2, and you're a clueless, useless, pathetic noob. By Tier 3, you start to get more sophisticated. If the map has water on it, you learn you can drown yourself before the enemies kill you at the end of the game. By Tier 4 is when you first get one-shot by a KV-2. At Tier 5, you get really serious about the game and you buy yourself a camo net and you hide at A1 all game. At Tier 6, you realize you suck because someone on your team with XVM tells you so in chat. You reach Tier 7, you unlock the Panther, you play a few games. You realize you should have gone down the Russian lines instead, but undaunted, you reach Tier 8. You grind 347 games in your Panther 2, feeling inadequate and useless the whole time. You get to Tier 9 and you unlock the Leopard prototype. You play one game and sell it in frustration immediately afterwards. You go back to Tier 1 and start all over again, this time grinding the Russian medium lines like you should have in the first place. Then you get to Tier 10 and you become an unemployed Tier 10 stat patter. Or to say, hey guys, it's Claus. How you doing? Hey, I got a question for you guys. Are those Unicoms really that much better than you? Do they really have that much more skill? Are they smarter than you? You know those guys, the professional players that play 40, 50, 60 hours a week. It's their life, and they always seem to do better than the regular schmo. Are they just intellectually superior specimens? Is that why they run XVM, so they can just check out the enemy team and go after the tomatoes and stat pad? Do you all need to just get good? Well, I'm going to explain to you in a no bullshit way how this game really does reward you if you sit in your basement 30 or 40 or 50 hours a week and just play for years and years and years like a loser. And if you're not a loser and you just play this game casually to have fun, remember that? Fun? If you just want to have fun, I'm going to give you some simple strategies on how you can maybe approach the game and end up being better at it and maybe having some more fun. Hey, wait a minute. I sit in my basement 20, 30, 40 hours a week, but I do it all for you guys. All right, let's get into it here. Now, this game rewards you for becoming addicted and spending a lot of time playing it. It grants you an advantage, and Miss Smooch here is going to help us illustrate this. Now, I've recently got this test account. Look at the crews I have in some of my tanks here. Let's get rid of these crews. And this video is not about crew skills. If you want to watch a video of my no bullshit recommendations on crew skills, I'll leave a link in the top right corner of the screen where you can watch that. This is more, I'm going to explain how much of an advantage you get by playing this game a lot and how you could never outmatch the Unicom pros that play 40, 50 hours a week. But I'm going to give you some simple strategies on how to maybe, without putting in as much time, enjoy the game more and maybe be better. So look what I'm doing here. I've got this test account, the North American CC Test 5 here, and it all comes with fully decked out crews. But I've put in now a regular 50% crew, nothing in the consumables, and this represents about as bad as it can get for this Cromwell B that I'm driving here. Now let's take a quick look at these stats here. Look at this. Okay, so concealment 14.42%, on the move 10.83, 283 meter view range. That sucks. Okay, now let's look at the firepower. And I'm not going to go through all the numbers here, but let's just look at the DPM at the bottom there. 1,675 damage per minute and 2.85 second aim time. Now I know what you're thinking. Oh, Klaus, because nobody drives a Cromwell B with a 50% crew. This is stupid. Well, just hang on. I'm just going to do a comparison here. You can see where I'm going, and I'm going to compare the worst to the best scenarios. And you probably fall somewhere in the range, okay? Like, do you have the attention span of a gnat, or can we do this? Okay, so here we go. We're in a training room here, and Miss Smooch is helping me. She's in her Tiger 1, and she's got a pretty good crew in her Tiger 1, like 3, 4 skills, because she's played it a lot. And what I'm getting at here is that the game, the way it's designed, because it's a grinding game, the more time you play something, the better and better and better the crew gets and the skills get. And I haven't even talked about stock tanks or starting with a tank that has the shit turret and the shit gun. Forget about all that. I'm just talking about your crews. And the crew is so freaking important. The only way you get a good crew is by playing that crew over and over and over again. So let's scenario 1 here. Player goes out and buys this Cromwell B. He has never played the British tanks. This is the worst it could get. He puts a 50% crew in there because he doesn't want to spend any silver, and he's going to train it up with this Cromwell B. He starts the game, he's bottom tier, so he's got to go out and spot, so he moves into a position here. And he comes up to the first ridge line and peeks over to see if he can find an enemy. Oh, is there anyone there? I don't see anyone. I wonder if anyone's out there. Okay, I'm just going to spot for my team here. I wonder if anyone is out there. I don't see anyone. This Cromwell B, I wonder if it's a good tank. I'll use my skill here to peer over this ridge line, and when an enemy comes, I'm going to blast him. Let's see. Oh shit, I've been hit by a tiger. Where the hell's the tiger? I got hit. Oh, holy shit. He's got to be there somewhere. Where the hell is he? Let me move up here. I can't see the tiger. I lost a third of my HP. Where the hell is that tiger? Where is he? I can't see him. Holy shit. I don't know if I like this tank. My team is pinging me. Go spot, you idiot. Move up. Oh, I'm ammo wrecked. I'm hit by the tiger again. I have no skill. I'm a terrible player. I need to just get good. Oh, maybe medium tanks are not suitable to my playstyle. Oh, look, there's the tiger. All right, enough of that. Scenario 1. The moral of the story is, how the hell would this Cromwell B with this configuration, how would he ever outplay anyone? How would he ever move up and detect anyone? I mean, he couldn't fucking detect his way out of a wet paper bag, okay? I don't care how much freaking skill, if you've played a million fucking games and you roll out in this tank the way it's configured right now, you will fucking suck. Okay, now I know you guys are thinking, well, no one's going to roll out in a Cromwell B with 50% crew with nothing equipped. But my point is, I'm going to show you the end members, the extremes, because you only realize things when you look at the extremes. Everyone fits somewhere in the middle. There's a range, okay? Now, the game rewards you by giving you crew XP the more and more and more you play. So when you got these guys that play 50 hours a week, or guys that have played 50,000 games, they've got a lot of gold, so they can use that to even boost the crew. They're running around with 5, 6, 7 skill crews. They've got all the tanks. They decide they want to go back to tier 5 to try a tank. So they whip out a tier 10 crew with 7 skills and put them in there, train them up with gold, and they're out there playing. They're on one extreme, the good extreme. Right? The game has rewarded them for putting in the time. And this, what I'm showing you, is the shit extreme, okay? Now, you're going to fit somewhere in between. And the reason I'm showing you the extremes is because it's hard to tell the difference because it's so incremental, day by day by day, game by game by game, skill by skill by skill, percentage by percentage. And if you don't believe me, just look in the mirror. What are you, like a 47-year-old guy? You've got a little bit of a belly and you're balding and you've got some wrinkles. You look in the mirror, you think, I don't look so bad. Well, pull out a picture of yourself 20 years ago and have a look at it, and if you don't have a heart attack, you'll go, holy fuck. There's a big freaking difference. Even though day to day, you probably didn't notice the change, did you? And it's the same with this game. You roll out in your first game with a shit crew and a tank, and then 2 years later, you're playing your 800th game in a tank, and you don't remember. Game to game, you don't notice the difference. But the extremes are huge. And this is a grinding game. It's a game where you grind things. So you don't roll out with an equal tank, it's not an equal playing field opponents. Someone who's ground a tank and a crew 800 games and you roll out and you've played 5 games, it's not equal. The game rewards grinding. And I'm going to give you a little bit of advice on how to make the game a little bit more fun for you, or maybe you'll play better if you follow my advice. Let's just kill this tiger. And look at my aiming and the accuracy and everything you've witnessed here. Let's get this over with, and then we're going to go back in the garage and switch it up and look at the other extreme. So now I'm going to fully equip this tank so it's at the absolute best you can get. And while I do that, let me give you a bit of advice. Think about this. So if the game rewards grinding, and if these crew skills and equipment make such a huge difference, are you the type of player that you've got 11 different tanks on the go that you're grinding? You're trying to get all the nations. You've got 140 tanks in your garage, and you play them all, and you're just grinding your way, trying to get to tier 10 in a whole bunch of different lines. And every line you play, you grind through a tank as quick as you can so you can get to the next one. And you don't have a lot of silver and you don't have a lot of gold, so you just flip the crew into the next one and you maybe train them up with silver up to 80%. And so you've got a lot of tanks, and most of the tanks you have, your crew has maybe less than one skill. You're 60% repairs or something, and you can't afford equipment on all your tanks. Is that the kind of, does that ring a bell to some of you in the way you play? And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying there's so much choice in the game that a lot of people have the tendency of just trying everything, right? Let's look at, I've re-equipped this tank now. Let's have a look at these stats now for this configuration. So all of a sudden, 31% concealment, 24% on the move, and 458 meter view range. That's almost double what we had on the previous example there. And now what about the firepower? Let's look at those numbers. So 2,625 DPM. That's like 1,000 more. 2.02 second aim time, like 30% better. And this represents pretty much as good as it gets without using bonds. I have not put the gun rammer that rams even 5% faster if you get your 5,000 bonds. So now player B here rolls out in his Cromwell B. And let's see how he does versus the Tiger. Miss Smooch and her Tiger with a 3-skill crew and very good view range. Okay, and she's going to be in the exact same spot as she was in the first example. And getting back to my advice on how to make the game more fun and how to be better, you're thinking about it, would it make more sense to, after you've played a little bit and you got a pretty good idea, oh, I like medium tanks and I like this style, once you've kind of figured it out, wouldn't it be better to just concentrate on 1 or 2 or 3 tanks or tank lines that you really enjoy and just play the majority of your games with those rather than trying to play them all? And so if you're only spending 3-4 hours a week, or a couple of games a night, or if you're a casual player, rather than always trying something new and being near the shit end of the distribution, why not concentrate on the few that you actually enjoy and play those a lot so that your crew skills build up, and you put the equipment on those tanks and you focus on those tanks and only play the new ones occasionally? Because let's face it, if you're not one of these pros that plays 50 hours a week, or if you don't have a bundle full of gold in your garage, it's hard to put all the equipment on all your tanks and have enough silver to pay for all this stuff, the big fire extinguisher, the food, the consumables. Not everyone can afford that. Okay, so let's watch example B here. The player has bought his Cromwell B, rolls out fully equipped, pokes the first ridgeline, and spots a Tiger. Ooh, there's the Tiger. Oh, that Tiger was invisible last time. Let me just readjust here, get hull down, and just track him here so that my team can kill him and I get all the spotting assists. Now I could just sit here and farm this Tiger all game. My team could shoot him. I'll get all the spotting assists. You see that? I've got skill now. I'm a Unicom. Now think for a minute. I'm showing you the 2 extremes. The first example player versus this player. There's not a fucking hope that first player could ever, unless he drives off a bridge and accidentally lands on top of this one and kills him by fluke. That's the only way he could win. It's not even a contest. And I'm showing you the 2 extremes. It's me in a Cromwell B versus Miss Smooch and the Tiger. One with the absolute worst configuration, and this one with the absolute best configuration. Now the only way to get close to this is to just grind. Right? If you want to play all the tanks a little bit, you're going to have all the tanks and all the crews, and they're all going to be pretty shitty. And maybe some of you won't be able to afford equipment on all the tanks you're playing, and you're really putting yourself at a huge disadvantage. So wouldn't it be smarter to just play enough tanks that you can afford to fully equip them with gun rammer and optics and the equipment, and pick the ones that you enjoy and And play those a lot. Play those, and game to game to game, you may not notice the difference, but believe me, when you're playing your favorite tank that has a 3.5, 4 skill crew, no one's going to have a 50 skill crew, but each of them has 4 skills. You're going to do so much better in that. You're not sure why, but it just seems to work on that tank compared to the tank that you just started and you've got a 75% crew and you've just started a new grind. So my advice to you is try and stick to the tanks if you care about this. If you want to be the guy that does the detecting and does the shooting and doesn't get spotted, rather than the guy that gets spotted and explodes, stick to the tanks that you have good crews in. Only grind a few at a time. Don't try and do 30 if you can't afford equipment on all of them. And don't feel bad when you watch the pros walking all over everyone with their 10 skill crews that they got out of their tier 10 tank. They've put it in their tier 5 and they're going to 3 mark it in 30 games. Don't worry about that stuff. It's not all skill. This game rewards grinding. So my advice to you is, why not grind a little bit more intelligently? And I think it will show in your performance and your results. And if you're doing well, you're probably going to end up having more fun. And that's what it's all about, isn't it, guys? Having fun, right? This is a game, right? And according to the dictionary, game definition is a form of play or sport, especially a competitive one, played according to rules and decided by skill, strength, or luck.